Okay, it looks like I'm live. I will, let me go ahead and send this link out on Twitter. Give me just 1 second. I actually don't know how. I forgot. That is crazy. Oh, it's been so long since I've been on the internet. I don't know what I'm actually doing. Okay, let me see. Let me just start doing stuff. Settings. No. Oh, you know what? If I go to YouTube, yeah. Let me go to my YouTube channel and then check live. Okay, cool. Copy. Twitter. Yeah. Let me post this now. Discard. Sorry about the delay. Designer. Right. Let me let you see what I'm doing. So it's not super boring. 1 second. Present screen, share screen. Come can, share screen, share. All right, let's go. Just decided to do a random stream about writing. I've been studying and writing my fuck comic. Damn it. All week. And now I have to vomit out all the info. Come by. Post. I really said that. You can't write comics. Let me help. Well, whoever that doesn't piss off will be in this stream, maybe. Nobody's watching. Good. All right. Let me just start talking. Uh, so I've been reading this screenwriting book called Story by Robert McKee, and it's actually really good. So far, I've read through the beginning and whatnot. But Story, it's actually taken me very many years to actually get into reading this book because it's very large, and I well, back before I really got into writing, or before I was really serious about studying it, I could never really make my way through large books. So I was like, all right, Story, it seems like it would be good. But then I actually learned a different storytelling modality online called Dramatica. And this is actually how I learned to write, or it's actually how figured out what narrative and plot structure is. And it's probably the most obtuse, dense, complex storytelling theory that you'll ever come across. But it's also the most complete and the most not efficient, but it's the most comprehensive that you'll ever come across. It explains more stories than it doesn't, and any story that isn't a complete argument would fall into the category of a tale, which is what Dramatica describes as just a series of events happening one after the other that don't really add up to anything that means something. Uh Now I'm just remembering now to talk with my hands to make things more entertaining for the viewers. And yeah, I'll just get into talking about what I've been learning all week. And really, I've been going through the first chapters of many series this week. Hold on one second. Let me grab what I've been looking at. Hold on one second. Dope. All right. One of those would happen to be Naruto, which the first chapter is, I would say, one of the best first chapters of any shonen manga that exists. It pulls you into the story with pathos and catharsis and leaves you wanting more, which is the best you can ask for a first chapter of a manga. The other thing about it is the translation, which is kind of weird. There's only really one part that kind of seems really weird to me, is that this part where Naruto's like freaking out and his chakra's going crazy, and he's saying like crap, crap, crappity, crap, crap, crap. I'm like, why'd you was that the best word you could use for that moment? Okay, here it goes. Right here, he's just saying crap, crap, crappity, crap. In the Japanese version, if I have it here, I better have it here. There it goes. He's basically saying the same thing, but he's saying like chickshow, 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 and chickshow means damn it, basically. And I was like, there could have been a better word that you used for the translation. Chickshow, 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 chickshow. That's all he's saying right there. Chickshow, chickshow. And then when I looked at the anime version, it was actually he was saying no, 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 and I was like, all right, that's a lot better of a translation for that moment that works, and it doesn't feel weird or got weird language or verbiage to it. So that was a weird tangent, but Naruto has a really good first chapter. Another good first chapter is One Piece's first chapter. Basically, Naruto and One Piece have really strong first chapters that introduce what would you say? Strong archetypal elements, strong archetypal stories that really get into, oh yeah, I got to remember to talk with my hands. Strong archetypal stories that really draw you into the characters, into the world, and start the story off on a high note. Let's see. With I could take this anywhere, really. Let's see. Zatch Bell also has a really fantastic first chapter. It's really good just because it's very simple. It's not trying to be a save the world type thing. It's just the boy, the main character, Kyo Takamine. He's very bored in life. People at school hate him because he's smarter than everybody else, and he doesn't want to go to school because everyone hates him. So it's kind of a recursive loop. So he just stays at home all day and reads MIT papers, and he's like, oh, I'm smarter than everybody, you know, I don't even want to go to school. So then this kid flies into his life, Zatch, which his name is not even Zatch, his name is Gash in the Japanese version, which I can see why they didn't translate that in the American version. And I really like the choice of the name Zatch for the American release, because yeah, no, it just works better. So then Zatch flies into his life, and he's there as a catalyst for change for the main character. He's like the inciting incident in his life. So he's just living life normally, and then this kid just flies in with his bird automatically into his life, and he's like, what the hell? You see, like, he's rubbing his eyes and whatnot. And the thing about Zatch Bell is that it is, what's the word for it? It's very highly readable, meaning the art and story flows really well. In that, if you think about the structure, Kisho Tenketsu, that a lot of artists talk about, or a lot of manga creators talk about, it flows on every page. It's always giving you something new while hiding something away from you, meaning it's giving you a piece of information while also withholding information so that you keep reading to find out more. And that's what a great story it should be able to do, to make it readable, especially to draw you in and keep you going forward with it. And let's see what else. I could go anywhere with these thoughts. So one of the things that I recently wrote down on my, what do you call it? My writing rules list, which is just a bunch of things that I keep in mind for my writing practice, where if I learn a new rule that seems really important, really like something I should remember, I put it down on this Google Doc where it holds down everything that I'm learning, everything that I'm trying to learn about writing and whatnot. And I'll stick it there for later use when, like, say I've been marketing or drawing or doing something else for a long time, and I'm like, and I need to get back to writing. I'm like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I just go back to this list, and it tells me everything that I need to know to get back into the writing flow. And so I'm not just like wandering around looking through my books trying to figure out, like, oh man, when the fuck did I learn that? You know what I mean? It helps me get straight back into writing and straight back into doing what I need to do. So one of the rules that I wrote down recently was about power systems, and about how power systems start off very, the best power systems, or the ones that are the most gripping, at least to me, are the hard power systems, where things have a specific effect and a specific cause, like a specific cause and a specific effect. And the best way that they start out is with very simple matters, meaning Naruto's Shadow Clone Jutsu, where he does, the fucking hand sign, and then 1,000 of him comes out. That is like the extreme form of the jutsu. That's like Art of the Shadow Doppelganger. Like, that's the extreme version of it, where 1,000 of him comes out and whatnot. But the way they introduce it, that's not the first time he uses it. The way they introduce it is just as a simple ninja tool. Like, it's just a simple ninja technique. It's not supposed to be this big, awesome, amazing thing. It's just, okay, I made a clone of myself. It's basically enough to fool the enemy so that they attack that thing instead of me, and then it disappears or something like that. But this is the first time you see him use the technique. So, like, a bunch of power comes out, and it looks like he's going to do something awesome. Behold, a perfect double, and then boom. Look at that thing. It's trash. But the fact that we see this done badly at first, and show that it's just a basic technique that even that anyone can do, that the other students should be able to do, like, it's literally genius. It's genius, the fact that the author started it off by showing us the lame version of it, and then escalating to the actual awesome version of it at the end of the first chapter, and then just showing general uses, and then showing other characters using the same technique. Makes it even more, it grounds it even more in reality, and grounds it even more in just verisimilitude. Verisimilitude meaning the simulation of feeling real, where it makes you believe that you could do that if you just try hard enough, but you can't. You can't do shadow clones. And I've tried, thousands of times yesterday, and it didn't work. It still never works, man. So what you do with power systems to get them started is you start them off showing like a basic usage of it. Shadow clones isn't an amazing attack. It's like a basic skill. But if you use it correctly, you can do amazing things. It's not like in Inuyasha, which I'm watching right now. It's been a while since I've seen an episode, but I'm up to episode 60. Where if you do an attack, it's just kind of this random blast that comes out and it does something. It does stuff like maybe it slashes or maybe it blows a lot of wind or something, but it's never really specifically defined what it does. It usually just does what the plot needs it to do. And that's how you get these power systems that where or that's how I would describe a soft power system, where it's just you do the Tetsaiga fucking wind scar. You do the fucking wind scar, and then some bullshit comes out. Sometimes it'll come out as one slice, or sometimes it'll come out as 5 slices, or sometimes it'll come out as a gust of wind. Like it's not consistent, which makes it soft. So it's like you don't even know what it's supposed to exactly do. It only does what the plot needs it to do, and that kind of for certain viewers that'll take them out of the experience and be like, I want something more concrete that I can take, like Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer or something like that, where it's like it does a specific amount of damage and you only have a specific amount of energy to be able to do this and whatnot. And Naruto Shadow Clones work like that, where it's like, okay, I know this kid has a lot of chakra. He can send out 1,000 shadow clones if he wants to, and there's limitations to that. The shadow clones uh disappear on contact basically, and they can't really they're really just meant as a distraction or a diversionary tactic. And that's pretty much it. It's not super complicated, and it's not a be all end all move. It doesn't do anything like that'll win him fights. In fact, he starts off most fights with shadow clones, and they usually get stomped. So that's Naruto. Uh, what else? Power systems. Power systems are cool. I'm still trying to figure them out. I figured it out for my series, for my comic, Air Rider, but I actually have to draw it, so it'll be a while before I get to that. Yeah. Anyways, there was a couple of passages that highlighted in Story by Robert McKee, where he says something about, okay, so in this passage here, he says, let's see, in Hollywood, imagery becomes, well, let me start from the beginning of that passage. Flawed and false storytelling is forced to substitute spectacle for substance, trickery for truth. Weak stories, desperate to hold audience attention, degenerate into multi-million dollar razzle-dazzle demo reels. In Hollywood, imagery becomes more and more extravagant. In Europe, more and more decorative. The behavior of actors becomes more and more histrionic. Histrionic means more and more like crazy or melodramatic or overacting or overreacting. More and more lewd, more and more violent. Music and sound effects become increasingly tumultuous. The total effect transudes into the grotesque. And I highlighted that because I noticed that is not just going on in Hollywood or going on in American shows and movies, but hey, what's up, Ichthy? Is it Ichthy? That's how I pronounce it. But thanks for coming by. I wanted to get this podcast started so I could just start talking about writing and whatnot. Um, while it was still on my mind, I didn't want to go to sleep without just starting to talk. So I've been talking for 20 minutes just randomly about like story, about Naruto, about um Zatch Bell, just everything that I'm learning about writing and story and all that stuff. And right now I'm about to go into a long monologue about why anime is also falling uh into the same traps that modern Hollywood is coming across. Came across your tweet and followed the link at my own risk. Oh, yeah, yeah. I guess the title was meant to be incendiary, so it would like maybe inflame people to come see what I was talking about. But it's really just me rambling about like story and all the stuff that I'm learning about this week. So let me get into what I was learning here. And then in the next page, he says Asian works, however, now travel throughout North America and the world, moving and delighting millions, seizing the international spotlight with ease for one reason: Asian filmmakers tell superb stories. Which I really agree with in terms of the manga versus comics debate. But this was written, I don't even know when. This was written way before that was even a factor, like even a thought in people's mind. This was written back in, let me look at that time. Let's see. It was not written in 1941. Oh, that was when he was born. Okay. 1997. That was in the peak of like, I guess the start of the big three of anime, of Naruto, One Piece, and all everyone that we know of as like the big Bleach. Oh yeah, yeah. In the 1990s, late 1990s is when all those really high earning anime started. And this book was written during that time period when American comics were still, well, I guess they were stronger in the 80s. But my point is with this is that even anime has its weaknesses and failures. Like a lot of the, what do you call it? The isekai stuff is, it falls into that increasingly lewd, increasingly loud, increasingly tumultuous, histrionic, um, attention grabbing type of storytelling where it's not really saying something, but it's saying just enough to grab your attention and to pull you in, like Jujutsu Kaisen or maybe that new show Dandadan. But I haven't seen it. I'm not gonna speak on it. I just look at it and I've read the first chapter and I'm like, there's no way this nerd is getting with a hot chick in the first chapter, and it's like they were just friends or something. And that's where I dipped out because that's just not real. But Don Dodon, like it looks like it's that crazy wacky stuff where it's like a bunch of dick jokes um and like aliens and ghosts and stuff like that. Aliens and ghosts is a cool combination if you do it correctly. And I think Don Dodon is drawn well enough to where it's getting a huge fan base just on the quality of art that is being displayed. I think it's even better than the quality of Chainsaw Man's art, but I don't know if it's better as a quality story. I haven't read it, so I don't really know. I just was turned off by the first chapter, so I couldn't really get into it. And I don't know if I'm going to be watching the anime either. It's out now, I think, but I just don't feel like I can get into it and enjoy it. But Chainsaw Man is different just because it started off like Naruto started off with. It started off with an archetypal story where the main character, he's just in a down place in life, and it's like you want to see him rise up out of the situation. And he does, but in a dark, twisted way, where he turns into this half chainsaw, half human dude, and just starts ripping through everybody. And now he's got powers, and now and then he becomes a slave to some chick. And like it, we see that how this is we see the cards stacked at the beginning for what's going to happen later on. You want to see him taste his first piece of bread. You want to see him um try to get with the girl. You want to see him touch some boobs. You want to see him get these little things that you would think would be a human um like given, just like you would just have those things in life. But you want to see him like pursue his small goals throughout the series. Whereas Dandadan started off more like it's just two characters in high school, and they're just talking about UFOs and stuff, and some stuff happens and whatnot. Maybe it gets better later on, but I just couldn't get into it at this point. And that reminds me of another thing that turned me off recently, which was Konosuba. And I love Konosuba to death, but it really turned me off with its most recent episode. I think the finale of season 4 or season 3. And it was, and spoiler alert, like it was bad because there was a character, and I'm not even gonna, I guess I'll just keep it like light spoiler. Like I'm not gonna mention any names. So in Konosuba, in this episode, there was a character that was supposed to die because there was a certain illness that he had that couldn't be solved by magic. Aqua couldn't help him because he was it wasn't a curse. It was like a natural cause. It was like he was sick from natural illness, so she couldn't really heal him. And we get to the point where they solve the situation for the episode, and things come to a climax. And then the character that's supposed to die doesn't die. He just gets healed by it was just a plot thing, and he gets healed. But what we had before was like this touching like send off, this touching goodbye, and the potential for something real to happen. And I was waiting for that. I was like, oh, okay, they can let go of this character and see them off, and then something real would happen. And it's like, okay, cool. In the midst of all this comedy and joking, it's like, okay, that's great and all, but now we can also be grounded and have something real happen. And then he just survives. And I was like, I was very disappointed. And I wanted my time back. I wanted the feelings back from having to go through that feeling of sadness and catharsis of about to lose this character. And then nope, everything's all good. All of it's good, and everyone's alive, and we win, and the bad guys lose. And it's like, you guys had the ultimate opportunity to do something real. You had the ultimate opportunity to ground me and make me feel something deeper than just normal jokes and whatnot, which I love about Konosuba. They're great at doing that. But then there was this moment where it's like, okay, we're about to feel something real, but they were like, no, that'll bring down the mood too much. It would be a moment for great character growth, but they were like, no, let's just let them have everything, and the characters win, and everyone goes home happy. And I stopped the episode right there. I stopped it right there. I was like, yeah, I'm not watching another minute of this. I gotta go. Like it was really disappointing. Yeah, it was really disappointing. Like if you've ever read that, it would if they said it was all a dream, that would actually be better. You know what I mean? So I stopped watching right there. I don't know if I'm gonna visit, like go back to it, or like watch it. If they do another season, maybe I'll watch it, but only if it's like really funny. They got to do a lot to come back from doing that. they had that moment to do something real and they squandered it. And I was just like, well, okay, well, maybe I'll come back to Konosuba another day. But yeah, it's one of those shows that it wasn't that great this season, but it was like it was fine. It was decent. But what else? I've been learning a lot about story. Um oh yeah, that's one thing I wanted to say about story is that if you're learning how to write, I would say at maximum you need just 3 books. Like 3 books, just read 3 books and he said, "I could tell by your face you don't want to continue on talking about it, but the rage in your heart speaks differently otherwise." Yes. Yes. That's exactly what I felt. I was just like, "No. No, I'm disgusted. I can't continue on this." Um, but that's the thing. Like if you're learning how to write, just start with 3 books. It could be any 3 that you're thinking about, but you just need one that teaches you the comprehensive modality of how to structure things. One that'll teach you how to write, let's say, characters, and then one to teach you the scene by scene, what would you call it? The minute details of everything so that you can know how to drive the engine of the story forward. Because most people don't know how to do that. They know only like 3-act structure, which I believe is not even the optimal structure for telling stories. The optimal structure is 4 acts at least in my mind, where you have a clear middle point in the middle space where people are just like, I don't know what to do. What goes here? Fun and games and stuff like that. That's from Blake Snyder's Save the Cat. Like you don't need to do a beat sheet because that's mostly for screenwriting, like for screenplays and whatnot. If you're trying to write a book or a comic book or something that's episodic like that, then you have more free play to come up with ways and means for how you want to approach it. But my main point is you don't want to, if you take 3 books and just focus on using those 3, just use those 3 and don't try to add and stack more on top of it because it's going to become too much information for your mind to handle, and then you won't even be able to write with confidence anymore. Because I feel like I'm going through that right now, where I'm like reading and digesting new information, and I'm trying to square it and compare it with the information that I already have, which was fine to begin with, but now I'm just looking for like extra little tidbits that'll help me take my writing to the next level. And I think the best thing that you can do after you've read those 3 books is to read a really good strong comic that really resonates with you and speaks to you, so that you can analyze it and see what they're doing correctly, so that you can copy that and put that in your own work. Because when you analyze and study somebody else, then you're like, okay, this is why that worked, and you can use what you learned in the books that you're reading to analyze um, the comics that you're reading, so that you know how things fit together. Because there's this writing structure called Kisho Tenketsu in Japanese media. And people think, "Oh yeah, I'll just learn Kisho Tenketsu and I'm all of a sudden I'm a genius." Like it doesn't work like that. And when you learn it, it's even more confusing because you don't understand what is supposed to go at each point of the structure. Let me show you what I'm talking about here, cuz it's fucking everybody up, man. It's called Kisho Tenketsu. I marginally understand it, and I finally figured out a way to square it away so that it's so that I can understand it and use it for myself. But it took me years before I found uh a writing modality that allowed me to actually um use Kisho Tenketsu in a productive way. Because check this out. Key, introduction, what's supposed to go there? Development. I guess the rest of the story is supposed to go during development. That's show. 10, where a twist happens that you didn't expect. I guess. What's the twist supposed to be? We don't know. 10, and then Ketsu, the conclusion. How? What? Why? Who? We don't know. It's not built into this writing theory. It's not built in. You have to know that stuff. Let me see. Let's see. Do you think that comics should have their own writing structure different than novels or TV/movies? It's not whether they should or should not have their own writing structure. It's just that what works for the style of story that you're trying to tell for your comic book. Meaning, if you're only writing a story that is 3 volumes long or 3 chapters long, then you want to use a structure that works for those 3 chapters. If you're writing a 4 panel strip comic, it's gonna be different, like a different structure. Like Kisho Tenketsu, that 4 piece structure would only work in that case where you have 4 panels to work with. And it in fact it works best in those types of 4 like they call it yonkoma, which means 4 panel strips. Um where you have Kisho Tenketsu. I think I have a book that's like that. Give me 1 second, I'll bring it up. Who Okay. So there's this book called Ga. It says Geijutsu Ka Art and Design class. I never read this, but I bought it because it looks like it has that kind of like Y2K early 2000s style and feel to it that I'm trying to replicate in Air Rider, like at least the coloring at least. And that's why I bought it. A lot of comics I buy are just on art alone or something. It has something in them that I want to study and take a look at. Let me turn off my screen here. Okay, cool. It has something in it that I want to study and look at. So like the coloring on the pages, I'm like, all right, maybe I can use that for Air Rider. But this is what I mean by Yonkoma. This is a 4 panel comic. This is the title of the comic, the whole thing. And this is the next one. So this would be like key. It introduces the premise of the joke that is about to be told. Show it shows the development where it goes after that. 10 is literally silent. And then Ketsu, that's going to be the punchline. That's going to be where the joke actually lands. That's why Kisho Tenketsu works in Yonkoma's the best. You can also make it work in like panel to panel comics like Naruto or Zatch Bell, and I think it works best in Zatch Bell. Like the creator Makoto Raiku uses it very strongly to get you to move to the next page over and over and over again. I blasted through the first 10 or 11 chapters just by force of interest alone. Like he's very good at doing like very intense expressions like this, and he's also very good at keeping your attention and driving it to the next page with tidbits of information that you want to know more of, and then comedy. Like he's very good at comedy. He's very good at intense expressions, and it's like, okay, I gotta keep going. I want to know more about this. And Zatch Bell is just so like cute. Like it's a perfect combination of cute and badass, because he'll have the moments where he's just doing some stupid shit like eating a fish or something like that. And then you'll have like expressions like this, like, I'm gonna fuck you up. You know what I mean? Like he's really good at showing like dark expressions and whatnot. This guy is only like 13, 14 years old, but that's the age of most anime protagonists and whatnot. They're usually like 12. And I have a theory about anime protagonists in Japan and Shonen Jump and whatnot. I think what they do is they said, "Oh, hey, Kapoki, what's up, man?" You said amazing case study. I'll definitely read Zatch Bell. Yeah, it's a great comic, and it was a great show on Toonami back in the day. They used to play it on Maguzi, which was like an afternoon version of Toonami. It was a good show. They played it along with Teen Titans and Totally Spies, so it was a good little action block type thing. What was I saying, man? You distracted me, dude. So it is. I'm good, man. I'm good. I just felt like streaming randomly tonight just to get out all my thoughts about writing. There's some weird thing inside of me where I'm like, I want to be the first to say this stuff so that it's recorded somewhere on the internet so that people can't say I wasn't already on it before some other dickhead starts saying the same things I've been thinking for years. And then I'll be pissed, dude, because they're like, if somebody else starts saying the stuff that I'm saying, and then I'm like, but I was gonna say it, dude. Like, I think about this stuff all the time, man. And I felt like waiting to make a nice perfect YouTube video about it and edit it and do all that stuff, it takes way too much time, and I can't keep that up. I can't maintain it. So I think doing something impromptu like this, like making a little video about it or doing a live stream about it and just going off the cuff will help me get out my thoughts a lot faster and a lot sooner, so I don't have to wait to make a YouTube video, which I'm probably never going to do. It takes too long, and I need to take the time to just write and focus on that process right now, and get my what's it called? Get my Kickstarter fulfilled, because I got all the orders in, and I'm now yeah, getting those sent out. So I came back from work. The office, the post office is closed and whatnot, so I have to finish packing all those orders, and then I'll send those off, and then I'll be done with the first campaign for Air Rider, and then I have another one in October. I think I've already said that, but yeah, it's coming in October. Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. What was I saying though? Something about Kisho Tenketsu being bullshit. It's counterintuitive and it's hard to understand. But if you layer it with like actual knowledge about writing, which you can get from the story grid, I'm not even going to say that right now. Story grid is actually very easy. Well, not easy. Story grid is actually very solid. It'll give you a very solid understanding of how to structure your story and how to make it good, and then how to edit your own story after you write it down. Because on first thought, it's not going to be that good when you write it down. You're just like writing a bunch of cool things that happen in your mind, and then you put it on the paper, you put it on Google Docs or whatever, and then it's like in some sort of sequence, but you don't know why it should be in that sequence or whatever. And this book, Story Grid, will actually help you figure out why things should be in the order that they are. Because if you don't know what your theme is, if you don't know why you're even writing to begin with, or you don't know who you're trying to tell the story to, then you don't really have much to begin with. I see that a lot in like a lot of indie comics where the creator doesn't know who their audience is, or they don't have a strong idea of who their audience is, and so they have a hard time pinpointing how they should write the story, or who they're writing to, or how they should format it, because they don't know who they're talking to begin with. So I myself know who I'm talking to. I know I'm trying to reach out towards the people who like My Hero Academia, people who like Naruto, One Piece, Zatch Bell, all that kind of stuff. And that was what I was saying before, where my theory with Japanese manga and stuff like that is that the creators of Shonen Jump know so well their audience. They know them better than we know ourselves. And so, because they're aiming towards a Japanese audience primarily, they create the characters to be, what's the word? They create the characters to reflect their audience in some way. Naruto is like, Japanese kids aren't usually blonde and have yellow hair, but punk type kids bleach their hair and make it blonde so that they can appear more badass, and they make it spiky so they can appear more badass. Naruto is about the height of a uh typical Japanese teen, like, 12-year-old. So it will appeal to their audience of younger readers. Whereas, let's see, do I have that on hand? Let's see. No, that's not it. I guess I put it away. Darn it. Well, that's how they do it. Kyo is probably the same way, where he's the height of a regular Japanese 12-year-old boy, 13-year-old kid. And that's why they make them the main characters, like these high schoolers, middle schoolers. That's why they make them the main characters, because that's their main audience. They know who they're trying to reach. And they're like, I want my audience to transport themselves as much as possible onto, oh, I'm going to talk about Deku so much. Oh, I'm going to talk about fucking My Hero. Anyways, they want the reader to transport themselves. There's a better word for it. They want the reader to put themselves into the heart and mind of the main character so much that they make them resemble their main reader as much as possible, so that they can put their so that they can easily fit into their shoes better. So that's why Luffy has black hair and he's like a 17-year-old kid, fighting all these middle-aged men and destroying them with just his fists and whatnot. That's why Bleach appeals more to a punk crowd, where like the main character's natural hair color is orange, but he's like a hooligan, or he's like a exactly, Kopoki. Yeah, isekai are very good at that. Literally every fucking, actually, let me pull that goddamn thing up. Every okay, it's up. It's here. Let me pull that up. Every goddamn isekai character has the same oh no, I don't want it full screen. Okay, there we go. Has the same fucking basic design. Let me see if I could find this. Isekai black hair characters. Yes. This is it, man. Every one of these assholes is the same Japanese guy who wants to be a nerd in a video game world where all the hot chicks like him, and he can never be rejected because he's so good at the skill or whatever the fuck he does. This is the only true black swordsman that I'll ever recognize, and he is our king. His Guts from Berserk. But the rest of these are just posers and lames, especially this guy. They're all drawn the same way because they want you to, I wish I knew the word for it. They want you to put yourself in the mind of the character as much as humanly possible, so that you can identify. I think that's the word. Identify with them as much as possible, so that you can get in the role of the story and want to read further, because the character's successes and failures, I don't even know why Guts is there, man. That's just because it's comparing the Black Swordsman to the Black Swordsman of SAO, which was Kirito, and everyone was like, no, that's gay, that's lame, because he's not, he's stupid, he's a 14-year-old kid. Guts is the real guy, and he was the Black Swordsman first. So that's why Guts was on that list. Anyways, Black anime characters with black hair. Okay. Kagome is literally the same idea as Kirito. They're no different because every black haired Japanese girl in Japan wanted to be Inuyasha's fucking girlfriend, and that's a fact. Look it up. Uh, her design is like she's a self insert as much as not a self insert of the writer, but a self insert for the reader to identify with her so that her adventures are their adventures, and she's the one and the reader is the one going on the adventure with the hot fucking white haired fucking sword guy, and not Kagome. Fuck Kagome, nobody gives a fuck. But it's the Japanese girl who's reading the story who wants to be transported into her position. And it's weird because Inuyasha, it had like I think a mixed reception. Hello, Joan Shepard. What's up? Inuyasha, I think, had a mixed reception just because it was mixed reception, just because it was both a romance and a shonen action battle series, which is a weird combination to do. But hey yo, what's up, young wavy? How you doing, man? I didn't know you were up at this hour, dude. But I'm just talking about stories and writing and all this kind of bullshit. So enjoy, man. Enjoy. Yeah. It what was I talking about, man? Y'all distract me. Okay, yeah, Kagome and fucking Kirito. And they're both the same character, they're both the same kind of blank slate. Kagome has a personality and whatnot, but they're both the same kind of blank slate character that you can project onto. That's the word, project. You can project yourself onto them so that you can feel their experiences as your own. And let's see, how could Inuyasha have mixed reception because it was a shonen and a romance story? Because it was a shonen and a romance story. And so people who wanted just a pure shonen action type story, they didn't get that because it was it like anytime it would get really like deep or good, it would go back to like fucking romance and bullshit. And like we were like, what the fuck? But it was enthralling to the romance readers or readers of shoujo because it had all the romance trappings of those stories, but but whenever it got good to the steamy like romance part, it would go back to the fucking shonen action thing. So it was kind of hard for both people to like really get into, but it really took off in the States. So I don't know the full history behind it, but I've been watching the show myself, and it's actually pretty enjoyable. I like it. I like how it how it I like the old style of anime, like 90s stuff and whatnot. And it has the same basic blueprint as Rurouni Kenshin. Like there's literally no difference. I think I tweeted about it one time. Let me go to twitter.com. I swear to God I tweeted about it. And now nobody can ever say I never said nothing about it. Okay, let's go. At ecomican. This is how you search up your own tweets. I did a lot of stuff. Inuyasha. There's got to be some crossover between, I think that's what I said. There's got to be some crossover between the audiences of both those shows because what the fuck? It's not here. What the hell? Top, let me see. Damn. I swear to God I said something about it. Rurouni Kenshin. I always type it the correct way with a U. Are you kidding me? Come on, come on. Yeah, I was shitting on Rurouni Kenshin, the current anime, just because it could never match the old anime, and I don't expect it to. I don't want them to even try because it's just too much to live up to. It's damn near impossible. Like, look at it. I like the design of the current Kenshin. They did a really good job of giving his eyes the softness and yet the angularity of his like glare and whatnot. But I just love the charm. Like at that, the design is perfect, but I prefer the charm of the old design just because it's it's just right in all the right places. You know what I mean? Anyways, and this is the best goddamn animation in the entire world. Yeah, okay, I guess I didn't tweet about it, and I'm gonna do that before some other asshole does it. Um, I'd love to come on the show and talk. Hey, Ken, do you know about Ayanu Child of Wonder? I've heard of it, and that's about it. Like I heard of it, and that was it. I didn't really look too much deeper into it. Um, I have to look into that later on. But I was on something. I was trying to say something. Um, I might have finished with that concept. Young Wavy, yeah, like let's do it, man. What? How can we even contact each other? Are you still on Twitter or something? Yeah, like just shoot me a DM and we'll talk on a show. Like I might just start making this a regular thing because I'm having fun with it. I'm just talking about writing and how people can get good at writing. It's something I've been like studying for decades. Well, okay, I'm not even that old, but I've been studying it for a long, long time, and I've been reading a lot about it for the past week. And I'm not qualified to teach, not even a little bit, but I have the right to talk about it as much as I want. So that's what I'm talking about here. And I'd love to get your experiences on how you're trying to get to Japan and if you're in there already or what you're doing with your comic and all that stuff nowadays, man. So yeah, let's do it for sure. What was I talking about though? I was talking about the stuff with Kenshin and Inuyasha. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're just characters that you can. Oh, did I turn that off? Let's see. Control Shift T. Okay, let's go. Let me pull up the character sheet again. Ken, I really miss some old anime animation as they didn't really need to be flashy and their animations were unique. Not saying modern animation aren't different. I just think it doesn't compare. Oh, there's so much we can say on that. Okay, let me write this down because I wanted to talk about Deku and why everyone's fucking so pissed off at the ending. I'm finding the whole thing hilarious, just because I don't care. But let me address this thing that Dragfang said. Um, yeah, the like I don't miss old animation just because old animation is always gonna be there. Like it never it didn't stop existing. It's always there. Like it's always readily available to watch. You just gotta know where to look. You know what I mean? It's not in the legal places. So it's always there to watch. But illegal I mean current anime isn't I have a huge problem with current anime and the way it's being uh about school. School definitely something I'm looking into as well. Yeah, it's yeah, the school is a good place to go because they just drill um like comic drawing into you. You never stop. But current anime, I have a huge problem with current anime and how it's being animated these days because current anime is like they're all the animators are all trying to show off how much they can make stuff move, but they're not taking into account the character's personality or what they're actually like as a person whenever they go to the battle scenes. Like it's like they're just waiting to get to the amazing flashy part to where they can cut loose and do the cool animation that they were trying to do, but they have no mind or no attention to detail when it comes to like the smaller moments or the things that actually matter, which is like carrying the story across through the characters acting and whatnot. They don't care about those parts, so it's harder to really invest in these characters in the modern age, especially with like Jujutsu Kaisen. But that's not an animation problem. That's like a writing issue with the manga. I can't really get into any of those characters, but let me see. They didn't need to be flashy, as and their animations were not unique. Were unique. Not saying modern anime. Modern anime isn't bad. Jujutsu Kaisen's whole second season was just a Sakuga fest of amazing battle after battle after battle. In fact, don't watch it. I don't recommend watching it all at once or trying to marathon it in a day, because it will just um it your mind will start to it'll start to look like a blur, and your mind will also get fatigued and tired, just because it's like, Jesus Christ, episode after episode of amazing battles and whatnot. But they all mean nothing. They all amount to nothing to me, because they're not set up to they're not set up as a story. They're just set up as a spectacle where you're just watching two characters duke it out. The Yuji versus Choso fight was probably one of the best out of the entire season. Even better than the what's that guy? Mahoraga versus Sukuna fight. It just because of how it was, like the way Yuji was fighting and the way Choso was fighting, and you could tell their powers, and it was just expertly directed, expertly animated. But still, I felt nothing inside watching those two characters, because I don't have any personal connection to them, and it's hard to connect onto them because I don't know what they want and I don't know who they are. And I've talked about that in a video before, and everyone was roasting me for that one, just because I was like, I was roasting on JJK, and everybody loves it. But no, they're gonna see, man. They're gonna see it's not that great. It's not that great a show. Hey Ken, you're right about Kenshin. Look in the old anime in comparison to the new anime, because I think the old anime of Kenshin looks ABL. I don't know what that means. But yeah, the old anime of Kenshin is awesome. It's I would say it's far superior. There's just one bit in the opening theme of Kenshin. Let me see if I can play it without getting a copyright strike. I wonder if I can do that. Rurouni Kenshin opening one. Fuck. I didn't type it right. Okay. There we go. Who sent me? I can't believe that. Okay. Let me just turn that off. And okay, let me play this scene. Let me go to share screen, present. Share screen, Kenshin first opening. Okay. This bit of animation in the first opening is so goddamn awesome. It's like you see the flow of everything. You see the fight. You see how everything connects and hits. And then you see the aftermath, and he just sheathes his sword and he walks off like a badass. He's the most I just love him as a character in anime period, but it was only 2 seconds or 2 or 3 seconds of animation, and it said so much. Whereas animation currently these days, it shows a lot of movement and a lot of flipping around and moving the camera screen, and it's moving everywhere, like a Demon Slayer, JJK. It's moving the screen everywhere, and you're just like, whoa, look at the amazing effects, and you can't tell what's happening. Like, you don't know what the fuck is happening, because it's just trying to show you spectacle and show like, hey, we can do this, like we can make this go around and show you all this cool stuff, like all those fights in TMNT Rise of the Ninja Turtles or whatever the fuck. It just does a lot of cool animations and stuff, but it's not really like describing character or showing like who they are. It's not keeping it simple, and it's hard to follow just because there's a lot of movement happening and a lot of effects happening. But hey Ken, do you know martial arts? If not, he is on YouTube and runs a company called Lubento. Yeah, I know martial arts. We talked on the phone once. Like yeah, I know him. I talked to him. I like Penguin Boy. I read the first chapter. It's really great. It's actually it actually follows Kisho Tenketsu really well, and it's actually a decent story to check out if you want to learn something. Actually, it's not like the best drawn, but it's one of those situations where it doesn't have to be the best drawn to tell a good story. I've seen plenty of better drawn stories that are just okay, whatever. Like whatever happened. Like, you don't care about the events in the story just because doesn't do anything with the story that you would be interested in. It looks cool and it looks well drawn, but then you just give up halfway because they're not really saying anything. Let's see. Ken, do you know Kenshin is still ongoing? It's manga. You know that, right? Yes, I do. Well, actually, no. I knew that it had the Hokkaido arc happening because the creator needed more money, I guess, or something. But yeah, they have the Hokkaido arc, and I read a little bit of it, and it felt like it didn't miss a beat with the old story. But at the end of Kenshin, I'm not gonna spoil it, but let's just say that the Hokkaido arc shouldn't be able to be made in the way that it's being made right now. I don't know why it was revived or why he brought it back, but from what I hear from people, they like it, but they don't they don't hate it, but they don't understand why it exists or why it should exist. And I think that's a large part because the story of Kenshin the first the 28 volumes, the complete 28 volumes was so solid and so finished and so complete that it didn't need to continue. So they're just kind of wondering, why does this even exist? Why do we need more? I mean, I'm happy to take more, but it's like extra calories on a meal that you're already satisfied with. Um, let me see. Hey Ken, I personally believe Penguin Boy art will get better, but the story is really engaging, and I can't wait to learn more in the story. Yeah, it gave me a lot of Hunter x Hunter vibes, and in a good way, like where it's like I want to know about the mystery that he's trying to set up, and I want to see like what happens with the main character, what happens with the grandpa character, and all that stuff. Just because it's just setting up a solid mystery and a good world and whatnot. Um, when you take the time to put more focus on how you're actually trying to write the story and present the story, then you don't have to worry as much about how to draw the story to the best of your ability. Like all you have to the only drawing knowledge that you would need for the story is how you can present it as clear as possible. Um you don't need to make it extravagant. You could just make it look clear. And I think that is the opposite problem to what My Hero Academia had. That's what I wanted to talk about, and I wrote it down. I wrote down Deku. Time to talk about that because all over Twitter, I just see, I just see Deku in a fucking um, McDonald's uniform. Is like, have a plus ultra day. It's like, oh man, why you gotta do him like that? And Bakugo's just standing there like, uh, yeah, can I just get my food, please? You know what I mean? They're doing him dirty, like, just because he became a teacher in the end. And like, there's a point at which I stopped reading most manga and I just skip to the end. I'm like, all right, I don't care what happens in between, just because there's a point where I fall off of the manga and I'm like, I don't care because they're not telling the truth anymore. Meaning, like they'll tell the story that they're trying to tell, and then they let a character live that should have died, and they they start making a lot of convenient, nice things happen to the main characters. And I could already see the writing on the wall with My Hero Academia, just because they allowed All Might to live when he should have died in a certain point of the story. And I was just like, okay, I guess. And then I saw that Deku and Bakugo fought again, like just before, I think just before or after he discovered he could like kick with his ability with One for All. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to catch up to the story so I could read this fight and read this moment and whatnot. And it was a good fight and it was a good moment. Um but I just didn't feel like continuing with the story afterwards. Uh And that happens for a lot of stories. It even happened with Naruto. Part one Naruto, I'll watch and read all day long. Whoops. I'll read and watch part one Naruto all day long and enjoy it because of the character dynamics, because of the archetypal storytelling. It just feels true with what he's trying to say, and he has a message that he's trying to portray. And I'm like, okay, I get where I'm on board and I'm ready. Like it built up so much goodwill in this first bit that you're just like, man, whatever happens from not Gash Bell, that's Zatch Bell, man. Gash Bell, I don't like the way that they named him that in Japanese, because it means a different thing in fucking English. So it's just like, oh well. Yeah, it was Zatch Bell, man. Yoshi, he wrote Penguin Boy reminds me of early Dragon Ball and Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, Hunter x Hunter and Dragon Ball combined. Yeah, it's just like that. It also gives me some One Piece vibes actually. Just with the main the main character design and all the animals and stuff. But what was it? Yeah, even Naruto for me, like the first part, like Naruto part one is I'll always hold up in high esteem. In fact, I'm collecting the first part and I'm almost done. Like I got up to volume 11, and then I got the Naruto versus Sasuke fight because I found it at half price books, and I was just like, all right, boom. I took that and I was like, yeah, that's mine now. So I got the Naruto versus Sasuke fight, but I'm missing volumes 11 or volumes 12 through 24, I guess. And uh I'm collecting it just because the character dynamics and the storytelling was so strong in that. But then it started to fall off. And actually, I won't even say that. In Shippuden, it didn't fall off in the manga. In the anime, I felt it fell off big time just because of the way I experienced it. Meaning, I watched it when the run on Cartoon Network was was finished. Like I watched all the fillers because I was just like, I don't know what filler is. I'm just watching these random ass episodes of Naruto that have nothing to do with anything, and I'm just like, okay, I mean, it's Naruto content. Let me just watch it. It was 3 seasons of it, and I was just like, let me just eat it all. And then the license transferred over to Disney XD, and Naruto Shippuden was on Disney XD, the adult, more mature version of Naruto with more blood and violence on Disney XD. Are you kidding me? It wasn't on Toonami anymore, and you just gave it to Disney XD. Okay. And so I watched it on that, and the pacing was horrendous. It was horrendously slow, and I felt like, Jesus Christ, I can't wait another week for half of a conversation to elapse, and then the episode is over. It was getting annoying, and I was just like, man, I can't keep this up. And the animation quality dropped too, where I think it went to a different studio than was making Naruto, and it lost a lot of the raw edge of the first part of Naruto, where it just had so much life and energy, and now everything was like shiny and just like slow paced, and it just didn't look good to me. And I thought the manga, I never got into the manga, or I never read the manga. I was just like, I only experienced Naruto through the anime, and the anime doesn't look good, so I'm just gonna stop watching. And that's what happened. I didn't even make a conscious decision. It was an unconscious, like, okay, I'm gonna stop, and maybe it'll get good at some point. And I would just hear about the different things that would happen um as hearsay. Like I heard about certain characters dying, and I was just like, dang, that guy died, damn. And I was getting into One Piece at the time. Uh, Giving shonen anime to Disney and Nickelodeon was a terrible decision. Yeah, it was. Disney XD as a whole was good though. The thing with Naruto for me is that it felt like we didn't need to reach the tuning exam so quickly after the first arc. I felt like it was perfect. That they reached the tuning exams. I don't even know what they would have done if it wasn't for the tuning exams. Um, yeah, but I think I was talking about quitting something. Oh yeah, I would just hear about random characters dying. I would hear about like this fight happened between these two characters, this person went blind, or this thing happened, and I would like find out through hearsay the story of Naruto, and I would look up the fights on YouTube, and I just wasn't as invested. I was just like, I hope Naruto and Sasuke get back together at some point. I would hear that they clashed and whatnot, but I never finished the entire story until the what do you call it, the fourth Great Ninja War, where everyone was um everyone was fighting and everyone was like coming back to life and all that stuff. And it was a great, well, actually no, it wasn't. I was watching it because I was reading it at that point because it was closer to the end, and I was getting into a lot of manga reviewers on YouTube because they were just tearing it to shreds. They were like, "Ah, I don't like this development," or they were just, they would say truthfully what they were feeling about the story. And I was like, this is interesting because I thought you were just supposed to love whatever you read unconditionally. Like I thought you were just supposed to enjoy the story no matter what. But it never occurred to me that someone wouldn't like um Naruto, or wouldn't like Bleach, or wouldn't like an anime for whatever reason. And I started getting more into critiques, and that really helped form and sharpen my mentality around manga and comics and story as a whole, because I would see what people would react to and see what they liked and see what they didn't like. And um yeah, watching those reviewers like Phone 999 and King of Lightning and Uber Hikari and um a lot of these guys that were early on in the manga and anime um reviewing sphere, I would listen to them while I was drawing, and I would laugh at their reviews, especially if the manga chapter was bad, and I would enjoy like how they were shitting on the story or whatever, and I'd be like, yeah, this is funny. But yeah, that's how I learned a lot about like writing and whatnot. And I didn't fall out of love with Naruto out of hate or spite or whatever. It was just um it didn't attract me anymore like the earlier parts did, because I felt like it was becoming more adult or becoming more uh dangerous, like even more dangerous than it was in the early part. In the early part, the main danger was Orochimaru, and that nigga is still not dead. He's still not dead to this day. He's still alive, man. And that's crazy. They should have killed that guy. But my at that time that I should have been into Naruto, I was actually getting into One Piece, and that was my new love that really showed me the potential of storytelling. And I really thought like one day I'll get on Eiichiro Oda's level and be able to write like he does and tell a story like he does. Even to this day, I'm like, there's no way I could even. There's no possible way. I should just focus on what I can do on my own, focus on what I'm best at, and not even try to mess with that guy, because he's playing a whole different game. Even 1100 chapters in, he's doing a whole different thing, and nobody really has the stamina to keep up with him and do the same thing. And I don't think we'll see a talent like that for the next 20 or 30 years. The only one who could really even match that is the creator of Attack on Titan, Hajime Isayama. Yeah, with the monthly series and whatnot. He was that manga is actually a masterpiece. And it's probably the only masterpiece that we've had in the last decade that not only kept its quality but kept improving it over years, to the point where it had one of the best and most massive climaxes I've ever seen of anything. It was mixes of horror, existential horror, um, terror. It was actually too good. So, but what I was saying was about Deku and why people are so pissed. And it goes back to my point about how characters like Kirito or Kagome, they're characters that you project yourself onto, and you want to experience what they want to experience. The literal reason why everyone is so pissed about Deku and how he became a teacher and whatnot is because they were projecting onto him their own life experience, and they want him to succeed because then it will feel like they succeeded. So when Deku 8 years passed, and he's yeah, this is spoilers for the end of My Hero, which I stopped reading a long time ago, but like I read actually I don't even think I read it. I just flipped through it. It was a really short chapter. And you can tell that the author was feeling very fatigued and he didn't want to continue. He was just like, man, this manga stuff is tiring. But he's probably the best artist in the entire magazine. Um, while he was still there, you know what I mean? Like one of the best artists. Um, but he, oh yeah, because people projected onto Deku and they wanted him to succeed in life, get with Ochako, the Uraraka, the main gravity girl and whatnot. They wanted to get him to get with her, have a kid, have a successful life, have money, and still have his powers. They wanted him to still have his powers. Um, they wanted him to have it all, but then the way the author ended it, he fell way short of their expectations, and that's why everyone was so pissed off because they projected onto him for so long that to come to the climax, the end of the story, and to find out that he doesn't even see his friends most of the time, everyone that he like grew up with and went through all this hardship with, he doesn't even like we don't even it's not even confirmed whether he's with that girl he likes. It's not even confirmed. People were pissed. I was just laughing because I fell out of the story a long time ago. The only Shonen Jump story that I've been keeping up with as of late is One Piece. Um, yeah, I think that's literally it. Uh, these other stories I'm not quite too sure about. But One Piece, yeah, is the only one that I've been sticking with, and that's the reason why people were so pissed at the ending of My Hero, because it felt like they failed. Like it felt like okay, it felt like a wet fart, you know, like at the end it's just like okay, this is what's awaiting our hero, the main character, the protagonist of the entire story. He gets to be a teacher. I guess that's okay. I guess that's kind of cool. You know, it wasn't fulfilling to the reader to see him not uh be the highest potential that they um wanted him to be. Like with Naruto, he became Hokage. He got with Hinata, he got a kid, he got two kids, he got everything that he was hoping to accomplish in his life. And really in the end he became a more of a glorified desk worker, and that's what he was fighting so hard to become. But at least he set out what he said he set out what he set to achieve. Same with Bleach, where he saves the day. He gets with that hot orange hair chick, Orihime. He gets with Orihime, and they have a kid, and his kid is friends with Rukia's kid, and it's like really you just want to see the characters get with who you want them to get with, because you're projecting on them so hard. You want them to have the life that you want to have yourself, but because you're reading the story and you don't have the ability to have that life in a way, you want that character to succeed so that you can feel good too. uh Yoshihiro, that's just life. Everyone doesn't get that picture perfect happily ever after ending. People drift apart, jobs, family, etc. happen. In a way, Horikoshi was extrapolating from reality, maybe even his own real experiences. Yeah, I think so. And it is just life for real. But This is manga, man. Like, I think Japanese manga are not well known for their endings. They usually end in a very inconsequential way that leaves things open for future projects, future things to happen. And because they end in this inconsequential way, like uh it makes it very difficult for people to be satisfied with the ending that they do get. There's very few manga that truly end in a way that people can enjoy. And the way you said, in a way, Horikoshi was extrapolating from reality, maybe even his own real experiences. I would say that's probably um the closest answer we'll get to what really led his thinking on the ending. It might have been an editor, it might have been his own thinking, but um I think maybe he was so tired from the creation of the story that he just left it kind of open ended and didn't want the hassle of saying, "Oh, this character gets with this character, and this is what happens. This is directly what happens." But I feel like, in my heart of hearts, I feel like it's a cop out ending where you you get to leave everything open, you get to end it, and you don't have to be responsible for any of the things that happen. Like Naruto got with Hinata, um, Ichigo got with Orihime, Kenshin got with that one girl. What's her name? It starts with a K. Kaoru, and they had a kid. They the characters that you projected on for so long, they succeed in a way that you want to succeed in life, and so they the story ends in a way that you're satisfied with. Um, that most people would be satisfied with. Yeah, some creators don't care for shipping stuff. I'm personally glad MHA didn't go with that. I don't even know what MHA went with because I didn't read most of it, but shipping wars do get fucking intense. That is true. And uh I'm endings are the best time to put a definitive answer on a shipping, like on a ship, because it's the end and nobody can say nothing to you after that. You can just be like, this is how it happens. And you can leave. You can walk off set. Um but during the story, it's too much of a distraction, and I think that's why the creator Eiichiro Oda just uh does away with that altogether. And because it would just be such a distraction, like the way American shows are written, where every character has to be starting to like kiss on this other character, and they're getting together, and they are in a relationship, and all of those relationships are badly written, or the way I see them are like boring to watch. I'm just like, oh, whatever. Like, okay, they kissed or whatever. That's cool, I guess. But the money is in having two characters that you want to fuck, that you want them to fuck and get together and have a kid, and then keeping them apart for the entire series. That's where the money is. You have them almost good, and then you keep them apart. And then another moment later on down the line, you have them, but then you keep them apart. And that's where the money is playing, is jerking. It's that will they, won't they? That's what really um plays with that's where they make their money, is playing with that sexual tension of, you want these two characters to get together and then they don't, and then at the end is when you get that release, like you get that, okay, finally, oh Jesus, I was waiting that whole time. And then when it doesn't happen, it's almost like you didn't get to nut after jerking it. And I don't mean to be crass, but that's just the best way I can put it. And that's what people felt with My Hero, because they they were jerking it, they were edging it, they were almost ready to bust, and then they, they didn't get to bust. So that's why it was sad and people were angry. that Deku didn't get no hose or didn't get didn't get to be a hero at the end. Like that's why people were mad. Yeah, but that's also why One Piece is good and so focused, because it's not focused on the shipping wars. It never even pretends to try to ship anything. It keeps everything so open-ended by design. And that's perfect because Oda knows that a lot of page space can be wasted on having two characters get together, and then there's an additional dynamic in there which doesn't make the crew feel like a crew anymore, a family anymore. It makes them now feel like a boyfriend girlfriend with a bunch of other people that are just around, because then the emotional focus will be on the main characters, you know, hooking up and doing all that stuff. And that's not the point of a shonen comic. Yeah, that distracts from the point, actually. Let me see. I still think Deku X Bakugo is a shit ship. It would never happen in a shonen manga. That's just that's for the what do you call it? Those people that's for the doujinshi creators, the fujoshis. Niggas want a panel of Deku resting his head in Ochiko's lap. They dead ass do, and they deserve it. People still think Luffy and Nami are being shipped, which they aren't. I don't think they're being shipped at all. It's something that I would like to see, but at the same time, I don't want it to be in the story at all. Like, if it's hinted at, cool. If it's not, cool. She's like the first character that joins the crew, or at least is introduced to us as a crew member before all the other characters show up and all that. So it would be nice if they got together, or had like a situation like Rayleigh and Shaki, I think that's her name. But yeah, I literally don't need to see them together. And if Luffy got with her or Boa, I'd be happy with either of those. But yeah, shipping is the reason why they end things the way they do, where it's like inconsequential, or they give you a definitive, like, this is who gets with who. Now shut the fuck up. That's what they want to do. And I think that's the same with. Oh, I was about to say another great ending that people had is the Full Metal Alchemist ending. Full Metal Alchemist ending is probably one of the most definitive, solid endings that you could ever see in a story. And I think that's because the story was told on a monthly basis for 108 chapters or so. And they were able to, I think that's the reason why the first anime wasn't complete, because the story was on a monthly basis. And the second anime had a full story to go off of, which is why they could cut the fluff and tell it however they wanted. I recently also read the first chapter of that too, just to see if it does, like, just to study and analyze it, to see like if it has like good things that I can learn from it as a first chapter of a story. And so that's pretty much most of what I was thinking about in terms of storytelling today. I might even do this again tomorrow. I don't know, because I'm tired of thinking about YouTube videos and tired of thinking about, like, oh, I'm going to do this YouTube video about this or do this video about that, but I really don't have the time to do it, because I'm trying to actually write and trying to become an actual, like, comic creator and make some stuff and ship out my comics so that people can get those and get the next project started. But saying this, or putting this live stream on, allows me to say what's on my mind, so that it doesn't just stay holed up in there, because it starts like it's, I don't have people to talk about it with, so I'm just like, all right, let me go on stream and see what I can do. So I think I'll end it here. I'm kind of in a flow now, but um if I want to say more, I could always just say more tomorrow. But yeah, that's about it. and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Thanks for coming on, y'all, and I'll see you in the next. Peace out.